Today, we're going to be reviewing items that you should take into consideration when it comes to pricing your services. Hi, if you haven't been to my channel before, I'm Gisela and I have dedicated my YouTube channel to empowering small business owners. Pricing your services can be a daunting task, especially as a new business owner. And that's the reason why I wanted to create this video to review with you some items that you should be considering when it comes to pricing your services as a new bookkeeper. So with that, let's start with transactions. We need to put into consideration the number of transactions that are occurring within each account. The number of transactions determines how much time we're going to be focusing on the bank accounts. Also, the number of accounts, the number of bank accounts, number of checking accounts, number of credit cards. The more accounts there are, the more time it's going to be spent reconciling each account. So definitely put into consideration the number of accounts that each business owner has. And with that, we are also looking at bank loans. If your business owner doesn't already have bank loans, eventually they will. And taking care of bank loans also include an amortization schedule. So that's also more time put in because we have to create a table that's going to keep track of how much of that payment is going to principal, how much of that payment is going to interest. And also this table can help the owner indicate how long it's going to take them to pay off this loan, how much is going to into interest. Maybe based on this table, the client decides that, okay, you know what, we need to put more into principal because we need to finish paying off this loan because this is absurd how much we're paying in interest, right? That's something that can come from creating this table and then therefore adding more value to your services. Service that I feel like a lot of, especially new bookkeepers, tend to fail on is charging for the amount of meetings that they have with a client. Remember, we are a service-based business. That means that if we have to take more time with a client because they require more meetings, that means that's less time that we can provide on another client or on another task that we might need to do. So that we need to charge accordingly. There's some clients that might just need that monthly meeting, maybe quarterly meeting, and there's others that might need 3-4 meetings throughout the month. So we need to price that accordingly. And I feel like it needs to be priced as an add-on because not all clients are going to have a set number of meetings that they're going to require. Like I said, some are going to require more and others less. So you might take into consideration, are you going to be offering the wholesale price, or is the client going to be responsible for their own accounting system subscription? With QuickBooks Online, which is what I'm familiar with, and with QuickBooks Desktop, but QuickBooks Desktop doesn't offer that, not that I know of yet, especially with the new changes that they are making. But with QuickBooks Online, you have the option of offering the wholesale price, which is a discounted price to the client. The only drawback is that it's going to be charged to your account, not theirs, and that's how they get the discount versus the client paying for their own subscription. Now, with the amounts coming out of your account, you also take on a risk if things don't go well with that particular client. With the consideration that the subscription amount is going to be taken out of your account, you need to charge accordingly. Also think about add-ons that you can offer your client. If you did not see my previous video, I did review a couple of services that you can provide your client as add-ons, and these are services that you're going to have to price accordingly. I went over receipt management, and of course receipt management, it all depends on the load, right? The amount of receipts that the client needs to be documented. It might be a couple of months, it might be a couple of years. Now that's going to be up to you if you want to take on that task, but you need to price accordingly based on how much time it's going to take you to input all this information, maybe in a virtual filing system if that's what the client chooses, or that's what you guys indicate that's best for the business. Something else that you need to consider is the client a fairly new business owner? So are they set up in an accounting system? If they are, then you also need to take into consideration, do they need a catch-up? A couple of months. I consider a catch-up a couple of months, maybe as far as a year, depending on how accurate and organized they have their accounting books, or maybe they need a cleanup. They are a few years behind, and there's a lot, when you review the reports, it looks like they need a lot of organization when it comes to the reports, their accounts. There's just some things that are not adding up, and that turns into a cleanup, and all of that needs to be priced accordingly depending on how long it's going to take you. Something that I suggest is, especially as a beginning bookkeeper, is use a timer. maybe at the beginning you're not pricing your services as good, but as you go, we learn, right? We learn from our experiences and we learn to charge accordingly. So maybe when you're starting off, there is a virtual timer that you can use to time yourself on all the tasks that you're performing, and then you can adjust your prices accordingly if you feel like you're undercharging yourself. So that's definitely a suggestion that I would suggest on timing yourselves within the service, because again, as a new beginning bookkeeper, we are probably going to undercharge ourselves, but we need to be as informed as possible so that the next client that comes around, we're going to be charging ourselves accordingly. And also, as the time goes, if you feel like later on your services are just very undercharged, you make a new contract, and if they don't go for it and you feel like you're being undercharged, then might not be your client. So that's something that you need to consider also. We can start off with one price and then bring up to the client why your services need to be priced up, and depending on what you feel you are bringing to the company. These are just a few select tasks that you should be considering when it comes to pricing your services. It's not a full-on list because, like I mentioned in previous videos, there are services that might apply to your business that might not apply to my business, or vice versa. So you have to price accordingly based on the services that you are providing. The reason why I decided not to specifically go over prices is because state to state, or county to county, or city to city, the prices are going to differ. I suggest doing a Google search around your local area. It might not be your local area, right? Because remember, we're virtual bookkeepers. So the cool thing about our business is you can live in California and work with somebody in Michigan, but the prices might be different. So in Michigan versus the prices in California. So you need to do a Google search in the area where your client is located, and see what the overall range of prices other bookkeepers are charging, and then from there decide on what what you're going to charge for your services. So that's a suggestion that I suggest on doing, to come up with prices in your local area, because again, they can differ. There's a full range of prices that will surprise you depending on where you are. So that's why I decided not to go specifically on prices, but on the tasks that you should be focusing when it comes to pricing your services. So I hope that this was helpful. Let me know below, comment below, like the video. It really helps me when you like the video, because I know that this is the type of content that you are looking for, and I hope to see you at my next video.